Everybody, happy Tuesday afternoon, State of the Union Day, which is apparently becoming I don't know, a holiday almost as big as the Super Bowl. It's Jack Heald. It's time for Java with Jack. Today I'm going to talk about rituals and the power that they have in creating brand loyalty. But first, it's time for a little bit of Java. Everybody grab your coffee cup. We do this together. I'm drinking a Brazilian today. Sometime I'll tell you the story about the power of your origin story to create brand loyalty, because coffee plays a very important role. So, as you know, I've studied cult psychology for, it's almost 30 years now. And one of the things I learned was the power of ritual in creating loyalty towards the cult itself. And I've spent a number of years thinking about ways to apply ritual in our relationships to our business partners, to our customers, to our employees, to members in our organizations. And it's difficult because so much about the word ritual carries negative connotations. So when I used to tell my clients, hey, you need to add rituals to your engagement with your customers in order to create the kind of loyalty that you want, I'd get a lot of pushback. People won't do that. And it turns out that people actually will do it. You just have to give it a different label. So before I talk about the label that you need, and that's going to make it really easy to understand, let's talk a little bit about what rituals are. So rituals are things that people do together. It involves their bodies. They do it regularly. They do it at a predictable time. And most importantly, these rituals that they do at regular, predictable intervals with their bodies together, the most important thing is those rituals actually have no value outside of the rituals themselves. So one of the examples that I like to use is if anybody's been part of a liturgical Christian church, at some point you probably, in some point during the liturgy of worship, you probably crossed yourself, and you know what that is. You touch your head, your chest, and then either shoulder. And that is a ritual, and it's something that everybody who's observing the liturgy does together at particular times. You know when it's done. You all do it together, and you do it frequently as well. And most importantly, it has no utility outside of the gesture itself. Now, that particular thing is a very powerful ritual for a number of reasons, all of which I've already described. And that's the kind of thing that if you could get your customers involved in doing that kind of thing with you, psychologically, our brains are wired in such a way that when we perform the same types of physical actions together with another person, and we do it at a predictable, regular interval, and most importantly, it has no utility outside of that particular event itself, we begin to feel connected to them. But we can't really do that in business, can we? We can't introduce rituals. Well, as it turns out, we really can, because the word ritual is just a name for another kind of entirely human activity that everybody, almost without exception, loves and enjoys and likes to do as often as possible. And that is play games. Games are events that we do together that involve our bodies. And the very best games are games we know when they're going to happen. They happen frequently. They happen on a predictable schedule. And they have some very well-defined rules, so we know when we're going to do them. We know what we're going to do. We know how we're going to do it. And if anybody doesn't do it, then the violation of the rules is very obvious. But most importantly, the games have no utility outside of just the point of playing together. So if you have, for example, a weekly card game put together with your buddies, say you get together on Thursday nights to play poker, you might be playing for money, but the money is actually part of the game itself. Yeah, you can use the money outside of the game if you win, and you don't have money to use if you're outside of the game if you lose. But the whole point of the exercise, aside from winning or losing money, is you do it together. It's something that you enjoy doing, and the rules are very well defined. You know when it's going to happen, you know what's going to happen, you know how it's going to happen. It's a game, and everybody likes to play games. So if you want to create that added layer of powerful emotional connection between your company, your offering, your brand, and your target audience, whoever it happens to be, the first thing you need to do is think of games that you can play together. Now, one of the games that I'm playing, and I shamelessly stole this from Scott Adams, is every time before I give you my message, we share Java with Jack. It's going to happen at the start of every time you watch me, so you're going to have a drink ready. We're going to sit and we're going to do it together. It's a little game that I like to play. Psychologically, it's going to make you feel connected to me, and that's how brand loyalty actually works. So I'd like to hear from you. What kind of games do you think you can play with your target audience? How can you play them? And how have you seen them work? Let me know. Talk to you next time.